think AI, well, okay, let me say this. There is some benefits to AI. However, I always feel like technology was going to always replace humans to a certain extent, like certain jobs, certain things. But at the same time, I do feel like it doesn't challenge people. Because all you got to do is put a little bit of information in and then it spits something out, which removes all the creativity to begin with.
What's up, family? Welcome to another episode of the Traffic, Sales, and Profit Show. I'm your host, Lamar Tyler. And today we're going to talk about how to stand out from a sea of competition where everyone looks the same. The great thing about the internet is that anyone can just jump out there, start a business, get going. But the bad thing about the internet is that anyone can jump out there, start a business, and get going. And today there's no better person than Audria Richmond, the founder, creator of Uncloned Media and the whole Uncloned movement. What's up, Audria?
What's up, man? Yes.
So I just talked about the fact that, it's probably more businesses than ever before because all you need is an LLC, right?
Yes.
That's all they say on Twitter and Instagram, LLC, some business credit, boom, you rich.
Thanks.
But how can we stand out, right? Is that what Uncloned is all about?
Yes. Uncloned is about becoming the obvious choice. And to become the obvious choice, you can't copy and paste, which is what a lot of people like to teach. Like, oh, just copy what I do and then you can go out and be great. But like you just said, like once you start to see it over and over and over and over, like I don't have a reason to pay attention. It's like seeing the same, hearing the same sales pitch, seeing the same type of product, having the same features and benefits. Like we're in an age now where you have to be different. It's a matter of success or failure.
Let me ask you this, because normally we don't get straight to it like this, but what you said made me think about something. With the acceleration of AI, do you think it'd be even more important to be uncloned?
Absolutely. People think AI, well, okay, let me say this. There is some benefits to AI. However, I always feel like technology was going to always replace humans to a certain extent, like certain jobs, certain things. But at the same time, I do feel like it doesn't challenge people because all you got to do is put a little bit of information in and then it spits something out, which removes all the creativity to begin with.
That's good. Because one thing I've been thinking about is that as everyone's talking about, AI is going to do all these different things for me. What I also know is going to happen is that scammers be scamming.
Yeah.
So it also makes it easier for the scammers and people that aren't authentic to show up in a space where they couldn't before because they didn't know what to say, what to post, what to create. But now when they can just, put the right input in, get the right input out,
right,
it's easy for them to, at least online, present themselves as an expert.
Yes.
But I always felt like the people that can stand out, they do have the experience, right? This can be a great position.
It's an easier opportunity for us because we don't need that.
Exactly.
To like a lot of people need it. It's like heaven to them. Like, oh my God, I could just put in my information and boom, it spits me out a book. But will that book chart? Will that book become a bestseller? And typically books that are like really good, it took some time. And you didn't just put in a little input and it spit it out something.
That's good.
So, yeah.
So let's go back before, and I know you got some specific tips we want to share with the people. But before we do that, let's go back to how you got to Uncloned Media, this Uncloned movement that you have. Because you weren't always a marketing strategist.
So, I used to be a clone.
Yeah, So what type of clone were you? How about that?
So, I worked, I grew up in Memphis and I had all types of jobs. I was the hustler of all hustlers, okay?
Okay.
And so I started off as a photographer. I wanted to learn photography, and I remember asking this guy, would he teach me photography? He said no. And I was like, nah, this ain't going to be the end for me. I went to the bookstore. I picked up some photography books by Scott Kelby. He wrote some books called Digital Photography, and that changed the game for me because this was the first time an author made something complex easy to understand. So I went out, and at the time, I couldn't even afford a camera. I literally just borrowed the camera. And then I started photo shooting with that particular camera. Then I ran into what most people run into, which is not enough customers. So I was constantly selling to the same people. And I'm like, man, I can't go any cheaper than this. So I was like, all right, this doesn't work. Let me start a new hustle. Learn graphic design, start doing that. Then I was like, all right, this hustle didn't work either. Let me try another.
What was the same thing? Not enough clients and customers.
Same thing. I kept running into the same issue. And then my husband and I started a juicing business back in Memphis called Juice Me Baby. And that juicing business, same thing. Get a lot of people buying, they will quit. And you will notice like all the different businesses I had, I would start and quit because I couldn't find enough customers. But at the time, I didn't know that was it. I just thought I had a bad idea. Then I read this book by, it's called Book Yourself Solid. I read that book and that changed the game for me. I was like, you mean to tell me all this time I had amazing ideas and none of them worked because I don't know how to get customers. I wasn't marketing. Like that was the key. Oh, I was like, this is it. I'm about to learn everything I can learn on marketing. So I read his book. I read Dan Kennedy books. I just read a lot of just what crazy with marketing.
So this is good. So you found out what a lot of people find out, or maybe a lot of people don't find it out, but they go through kind of iterations of it. The real problem was the market, because you had a good product or you had good services at points. But like I said, you just couldn't get in front of enough people to be able to kind of continually move down and make enough revenue to kind of keep going with it. And what I love that you also said, I want to point out to everybody listening, was that at some point, you had to stop restarting the business.
Yes.
And realize that, hey, I got to stick through this thing.
Right.
Was that like around the same time you realized that?
Yeah, because like eventually you get to a place where you like, man, I can't keep starting and quitting. Like this has to make money for me. This has to do something for me. And I just kept running into the same issue. And then once I figured out that that was the thing, like that's when it really took off.
All right. So you read that book. It changed your mind around marketing. You said you start diving into everything marketing related.
Yeah.
At this point, what is the business that you're in? Because you'd already stopped the juicing business.
Yeah. Well, at this time, I went back and got a job.
Okay.
I worked at a mega church in Memphis as a marketing manager. And when I went to go work there, I did not like working there at all. But it was a job. It paid the bills. It was more consistent than my little hustles. So once I decided to I promised myself that if I ever quit this job, the next thing I do is going to be successful. So I come online and I started learning about online marketing, funnels, and like all the things. And I was like, nah, this is fake. Ain't no way these people are like making money online, because everything that I was doing offline, everybody online didn't know how to do. So like offline, I was doing photography, graphic design, graphics, setting up beautiful things. Online, that's what people struggle with. Everybody's stuff was ugly. And I was like, that's the number one thing I'm gonna start helping people with. Like I can teach you how to brand your business. And that's actually how I started. I started doing branding. Then eventually I was like, no, I don't really want to do branding. I really want to coach and like create a course. And that's kind of how I started moving on into the online marketing space.
Let me take you back one step. Was there anything at the church when you were marketing for the church that you learned or that you still carry through today?
Oh man, I would say that they taught you like structure, but that was about it. Like as far as corporate structure, this is my first corporate job. Because prior to that, I worked at Kroger, Best Buy. I was a flight attendant. So this is the first time I had a job where they gave me a phone and a laptop.
You was like professor.
Yeah.
A briefcase.
This was brand new. I was like, I don't know how this supposed to work. You mean to tell me you give me this phone, you call me anytime? Because I was salary. This is my first salary job, first everything. So I think the thing that I learned was corporate structure. How do corporations work? How do you work with salary employees? At the time, I didn't like it. But now that I have my own business and I employ people, it's like, oh, you want to do the thing that you didn't care about,
That's so good, because something I've realized a lot of times is that while everybody always saying, everything they can think of negative about 9-to-5 jobs.
Right.
My 9-to-5 job is really the thing that instilled, like I said, a discipline in me that I use now as an entrepreneur. Right. It kind of built the rails and the systems and the flow that I incorporate into my own business, not just for my teams now, but literally for myself.
Right.
To be able to do the things and have the consistency along the path that a lot of times I see people that just totally freelance the whole time, oftentimes don't have.
Right.
Just, I was trying to skirt around it, but it is what it is. You keep it real out here.
Right.
So I love the fact you say that what they taught you was that structure, and now you put in those same structures and systems,
Yeah,
or some iteration of them in your.
And as a system, I didn't even know what that was. I just know I had a job and I had to report to work. That was it. I didn't understand that my managers at the time was my like managers and leaders and executive team. All this lingo that I'm learning now, when I remember that, I was like, this is what it is. I was on the front line. So now I get it. So yeah.
Oh, I love it. I mean,
Yeah.
this is good. All right, so you start doing marketing, you diving into it, you're bringing the element of what you already knew, right? Graphic design,
Yeah.
photography,
All the creative stuff.
all the creative stuff to make people's projects better. Now, at this time, were you also doing well in business? Because a lot of times creatives, hey, that's
impossible. Soon as I got online, so like I'm gonna tell you how I figured out. I did a launch and didn't know it. Okay, so I took this program, and when I took the program, it taught like how to do like a training, like a mini training. So I did this training. I was like, this gonna be my letting people know that I'm online thing. So it was called 20 Steps to Launch the Premium Brand. And I was going to go in on all the stuff I hate about people's brands online. But I did it in a positive way. So I talked about all the things I didn't like, and people started asking me, like, how can I work with you? And I'm like, I ain't even thought that far. I'm like, I just wanted y'all to watch this video so y'all can stop looking raggedy online. I didn't know, like, people actually wanted to work with me. And so people ended up, like, I ended up going back and, like, adding, like, little call buttons. And so people started booking calls with me, and I would get on the phone. And, you know, one thing they say all the time, do market research. Man, I did, like, 40 or 50 of these calls. And then eventually people started asking me, like, how do I work with you? I did not have an offer. I was like, the first time somebody asked me, how do they work with me? I was like, I don't know. I'll be back. So I came back with,
nah, you know, the service, yes, you know, it's a service-based business. What they all say, what you're supposed to say is, let me get a proposal to.
right. That is what I did. What I did see was, because I was broke. I was like, okay, this somebody asked me how to work with me. So I went back, I created a proposal, and I presented it to her. This is the first time in my, like, you know, photography, graphic design career where somebody say, oh, that's a good price. I'm so used to people telling me with my little $50 and $75 photo shoots, that's too much, that's too expensive. Here it is, this $1,000 offer. This lady was like, oh, sign me up. And I'm like, this changed the game.
Yeah.
This changed the game. I was like, it can't be this easy. It can't be this easy. So I had another call, closed another client, had another call, closed another client. And I'm just like, this is banana. Within our first 60 days of being online, I made $60,000. No, $20,000. And when I made that, I was just like, this changed the game. Like, I thought it was illegal, honestly. Because, like, I ain't never made that much money. I went from making that annually to making that in 60 days. And so that was like, you know, a life disruption. I'm so used to putting stuff in layaway and having to pay payment plan stuff to death. And I'm just like, I could just like buy stuff. And like, from what I know in my head, this is the first time it clicked that I didn't have to work hard. Like, I have to work hard, but I could use my brain and what I know and my skills and my knowledge to make money. And at that time, I was always doing like physical labor. It was the first time me getting paid with my knowledge.
Yeah. Guess what? If you enjoyed the last few minutes of this episode of the TSP Show, you gotta watch the full thing. But it's only available on The Convo. You can register today totally free at theconvo.tv or scroll down below for a listing of all of your favorite streaming apps where you can watch it today.